Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Do Good podcast with myself, Rob Watson. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking all about gratitude and the effect it can have on us, on pretty much beneficially on all areas of our life, just by us focusing more on the things that we have in our lives than what the things that we want. So just before I delve into it, I'm just going to pull this little line of research that I've come across. So this was UCLA's Mindfulness Awareness Center. Now they said having an attitude of gratitude literally changes the molecule structure of the brain. It keeps grey matter functioning and it makes us healthier and happier. So when you feel happiness, the central nervous system is effective, which makes us feel more peaceful, less reactive and less resistant. Now, there you go. This is deep, thorough research into this, and there's so many more studies that are popping up that I'd really just say, go out, do a bit of research. It's not just some sort of like woo-woo spiritual mindset of, be grateful for the things you've got and you'll be happy. It literally does rewire our brain and makes us feel calmer, feels less stressed. It makes us see the world in a different place. I think once we start to focus on the things that we're grateful for more and start to act on that as well and put it into practice, really do start to see the world as a better place rather than say having more focus on the negative and what's wrong with things. As soon as we become more grateful, we start focusing on what's going right in our lives, but not just in our lives, also outside as well in society, because there's so many good things happening now in society, in our lives, if we choose it to be that way. That's a big thing. I really believe it's a choice. It's a personal choice that we can decide which way that we want to view the world. There's that phrase, isn't it? A half glass empty or half glass full type of person. It's so true. We've all got people in our lives that you might see that, they're a positive person and good things happen to them, or that other one's a bit down the dumps and it's always one struggle after another or one stress. It's literally us creating that in our lives. So us being focused on what we've got and all the things around us, because it's just some things, remember that term? I'd always get told it by my grandma growing up. She'd say, you don't know you're born you. When we're younger, we kind of just like, well, when I was younger, I was like in my teens, I just sort of brushed that stuff off like, yeah, whatever, man. But it's so true. As I get to be a bit older, I'm going to be 40 next year, I'm really able to see, compare things like how time's gone by. For instance, now, kids growing up now, there's so much technology, things have advanced further. But anyway, that term that we've always had, you don't know you're born. And it's so true. Think about, you'll be listening to this, so you'll either be at home, you could be in the kitchen, or you could be at work, or you could be out in a car. For instance, a car, isn't it amazing that we can, I could get in a car now and I could drive down to London. I could drive down to London in a few hours. Isn't that amazing? Go back before cars, before trains. I'd have to be getting a horse and cart down there, or I'd be walking down there. And often most of us will look around and be complaining about our cars, and we'll be thinking, oh God, that person's got a nicer car, they've got a faster car, they've got a more expensive car than me, it's shinier. And that's the mindset that a lot of us can have. And I'm saying this not from a place of me being I've cracked this, because I'm not. I still have a lot of this stuff come up in me. And I think a lot of it's, it's our ego. It's driving that, that feeling of conflict in ourselves, that we haven't got enough and we should be getting this and doing more and competing against that person for that. And then once I've got this thing in my life, I'll be happy, I'll be successful. So it's a really interesting concept for me, and and it's something that I've been applying a lot more in my life, particularly, the past half a dozen or so years, just literally doing my best to focus on the things that I've got around me. So for instance, now I'm recording this. I'm sat up in our loft space. I've got a computer set up. I've got a microphone in front of me. It's plugged into the wall. I've got the internet. I've got all these things that are supporting what I'm doing right now. All these things, so many things play a role in the things that are around us. Everything, literally everything. We are totally supported all the time. We've got everything that we need at our fingertips. And if we can just focus our mindset a little bit more on that, on them things that are around us, It could be, it could be amazing. Really, it can be amazing. It is amazing that the things that we have in front of us right now. And when we have that mindset of the things and being grateful for the things we've got, I then believe we attract other things into our lives, because we're not then focusing on what we haven't got. We're focusing on what we've got. We're being grateful for them things. Whatever your house is, whatever your car is, whatever the state of your health is, there's always to be focused on something that is to be grateful for. It can be really easy to just get in that mindset of taking things for granted. I know I can. I have to sort of catch myself, and I'm doing my best, and I think I've done a lot over the years of rewiring my patterns, but I still drift into some old ones, some old mindsets. It can be negative about this event or these people or whatever, but I do my best just to catch myself and say, well, okay, where's that coming from? Why am I being like that? What can I take out of this situation? How is this situation, can I benefit from this? How can I acknowledge it in some way? This is something that amazes me. So we can put some headphones on our head and we can listen to literally any piece of music that's ever been created with a touch of a button. Like, isn't that just phenomenal? One touch of a button, we can listen to any piece of music. Go back in time, go back 100 years, 200 years, we wouldn't have access. That's the thing, it's so phenomenal at the moment. Like, everything that we need, we've got right now, pretty much. Okay, if you're listening to this, you've got everything you need in front of you. Even people in the toughest situations, and this is the thing that's helped me. So we work with a children's charity in Liverpool and have been doing for about the past 6 months. And some of the children that go into that, through that organisation, are having, tough lives, really tough lives. I think a lot of us can live these sheltered existence and not realise how tough some people have got it, from such a young age. And you think, wow, yeah, this that's the amazing thing about this charity. It's there to help these people. And actually it was Stephen Yip who was on a previous episode. That's the charity that I'm talking about. And me just being in there and seeing the work that they did, first I'm bloody grateful that there's charities available and there's amazing people doing these great things around the country, around the world. Real saints, real people that are giving up so much of their time and energy. And this mindset now of having being of service to others rather than service to self. And that's something that really resonates with me in my life, about the more things I can do to be of service in some way. So anyway, this charity, and seeing what the kids have gone through and the lives that they live, and I think it's 1 in 3 children in Liverpool now are growing up in poverty. That's quite a shocking statistic, 1 in 3. And then I remember on that day, it was a really wet, miserable day, and I was walking down into the city centre, and it just seemed like there was even more homeless people than normal. And when the weather's bad, you really feel for them. You really think, God, you've really got it tough, haven't you? You've really drew the short straw in some ways. And now, obviously, I could say there's probably things that everyone can be grateful for. Now, in them cases, it's going to be tough for them to see that. But I'm sure the people that will help them on the streets, because there's a lot of kind people out there that are helping people, they can be grateful for that. And often you can see that gratitude in them. I remember giving some money to some lady one time, and she was just... I gave her a bit more than what I'd normally give. It's kind of like, I had this £10 note and I gave it to her. And her eyes literally lit up, and she was just so grateful. And she would say stuff like, I need like £15 for me to stay in a hostel tonight, and that's giving me, a massive boost on me. But then I just think, wow, I was just like so grateful for me personally that I could help this lady, and I was grateful for her response. I'm talking there about being grateful, like saying thank you more. Like, how often do we say thank you enough? I do my best now to say bloody thank you to as many people as possible. Whether it be the postman coming to the door and I get it off him like, thanks so much, really appreciate that. To especially times when I'm buying stuff, I might go and buy a cup of tea, or I'll be in the shops, or we'll be at a restaurant, just being so bloody grateful for these people that have brought you your food. Swirling back now, that day I was in Liverpool and the rain was bad, loads of homeless people everywhere, and it's great to feel like you can help people. But I remember coming home to our house, I jumped on the train and I came home, and I was incredibly grateful for the home I had. It was like me putting myself in that other situation for a bit. I wasn't there for long. That really helped me. to just, it's like as if I was seeing my home with different eyes. I was just so grateful for what I had. I was grateful for the house that I've got. I was grateful for everything, and the food I've got in my fridge, and just think, God, these people don't have the access to that food. They don't have access to a shelter like maybe they've had in their lives in the past. And us focus on the things that we've already got. Like I said, I think it helps us to brings better things into our lives. Okay, brings better things in our lives. So some of the things that can help us, I'm going to just touch on some little practical guides of things how we can focus more on this. So for instance, keep a gratitude journal. It doesn't need to be, you don't have to go overboard with it. This is the first thing that I started to do when I began to journal. I talked about it in the last solo episode that I did. I started journaling back in 2015 and I came across a book called Calm, and they just encourage you to focus each day to reflect on a few things. So one of them was the 3 things that you're grateful for. Write down the things that have made you feel calm, and then also some of the highlights from the day. And just doing that, I did it consistently over and over and over. Now, to start off with, you can be like, oh, what can we feel grateful for? And some days you can have them great moments. Like I just said, that day I was out, I come back, I'd seen all these homeless people, I'd heard all about these children who had a really tough lives. So straight away on that, I'm really grateful for the home I've got. Really grateful to be sheltered, to have somewhere warm to be. And we could pretty much, all of us can add that to it each day if we wish. Some days it'll be like, oh, the sun was out and I was out in the sun for a little bit, or I saw an incredible sunset. All these things, like, they are given. Or one thing I absolutely love doing at night, I love looking at the stars. It takes my breath away. I almost realise just how amazing things are and how much wonder and awe there is. The fact that I can look up and I can be looking at the Pleiades star system, or I can look at the Orion belt and just imagine the worlds and the people that'll be living around them star systems. Like, they're the things I was like, wow, can't see that in the daytime, but at night, just, especially if you live in a city, this is a tricky thing now because there's a lot of light pollution. So not everyone can tap into this as much more, but get outside, go out to somewhere where there's not a lot of light pollution. And these are the things I can be really grateful for. And we've got 2 cats, and they will often make it into my gratitude list or the highlights for our lives. One thing that me and my wife do pretty much all the time is we get into bed at night, we'll just say to each other, what's your 3 highlights of the day? And we never fail to come up with 3 highlights. And the best thing about it is it forces you in a way to remember them things, because sometimes you go, oh yeah, of course that happened, it might only have been like 6 hours ago, but often it can just like fly by. And I think it's a great thing to do before we go to bed at night, just to focus on some of the good things that have happened that day. It seems like a great way to go off to sleep. And then when you get up in the morning, I know every day I've got highlights. I know every single day that there's going to be some good things going on in my life that I can be grateful for, that I can just focus on. And that's the thing I said right at the beginning, and I say it again now. It's so important. The mindset of things is so important, because our perception of something literally has an effect. That is how we define something shapes how we see something. So the more that we can just get into that place of having an attitude for gratitude and focus on them good things, then. So some of the things that we could do, tell a friend something that you appreciate about them. It'll put such a big smile on the face. Just to drop something in when they're not expecting it. Just something, And to start off with, they might be a bit taken back, and you can just say, well, it just popped in my mind and I thought I'd tell you. You can be like, normally I'll just hold these things in, but I thought, no, I'll tell you. Another thing in terms of like tools to do is like next time something like bad happens to us, and often when we're in it, it can feel like, why has this happened to me? This person's done this and stuff. And, just take a breath, take a moment and consider potentially 5 good things that could happen as a result of this happening to us. For instance, someone may lose their job, and in that moment, it can be like such a shitty moment. However, you could think, well, that was reflecting back on it, especially a bit further down the line. You could be like, wow, I'm so grateful that thing happened to me, because if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't have pushed me in a different direction. I needed that kick up the arse. I needed that shove to go in a different direction, to sort of go on my own with something, or to follow that passion or that career that I've been putting off. But now, because I've been let go of my job, now I can go do that. Stuff like that can it's just about rewiring it and reframing the way we see stuff. Here's one that I've really like, and I've been doing particularly recently, is like write someone a thank you note. Now, I haven't been doing so much a thank you note, but what I've been doing is, in birthday cards which I send to my family, what I've been doing recently is, you do the note most of the time. You get a card, don't you? To such and such, have a great day, all the best, signed whoever. And it's kind of like, it's great, I appreciate it, thank you for the thought. And I'm grateful for that. Now, what I've been doing recently is I've been doing that, but then on the left hand side of the card, I've been writing like this, a note, and tying it into stuff like being grateful. For instance, one I did recently was to my auntie. So when I was 19, it was a bit of a real crossroads in my life in terms of like career-wise, what to do. I'd always loved art, but I'd also really enjoyed maths as well. And I'd pursued art, but I was getting really frustrated. In the college that I was in, I wasn't thriving on it. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't feel like it was getting the best out of me, and I wasn't giving it my best. And I kind of felt like jacking it all in. Yet my auntie worked at a different college, and she kind of like, she encouraged me and said, I can get you a place on this course if you want, come in. And literally her doing that for me really helped to, in a way, I believe, change the course of my life, because I got at that point where I was fed up. Some of me just wanted to go get a job to earn a couple of £100 a week so I could be like my friends and buy some clothes for myself and go out. Yet instead I was kind of like, I didn't really have that much. Fortunately, my parents were really good for me and supported me, but there was an element that I was thinking, I just want to go out and get a job and I'm so glad at that point. So my auntie got me this place in this college, and that college, that year there, was one of my favourite years of my life. I grew and developed so much. I really learnt my craft. I found my love for graphic design, which has then pushed me on to setting up my own company and doing that for 13 years. Without that moment, without that, this is where we talk about crossroads in our lives. I think we can all relate to that. There's so many different paths we can go on, almost so many different future timelines for us to consider. So I could have really gone off in a different direction. I could have worked doing something I really didn't want to do. So I'm really grateful for that point. So what I did is, in this card, I wrote this to my auntie. I literally wrote in there just saying, I don't think I've ever really told you this, but I just want to tell you how grateful I am for that time when you got me into the college. You being there for me at that moment really helped me and really shaped me. And I've been doing this a few times now, over to my other aunties and to my parents and to my uncles and stuff, just remembering a moment in time where it's either they've done something for me really significant, or just me remembering a time with them that I really enjoyed. My other auntie, she's an amazing singer, like really good singer. And when we go on holiday, she would always get up and sing, and we'd always be really proud of her. And you know what? I get quite choked as well sometimes when I'd be listening to it. And I just wrote that in there, just said like how much we were behind you and how much we loved listening to you, because we were kind of like, she had a phenomenal voice. She's still got a great voice now. So just remember these things. And the thing I've been hearing, I've been getting like, I haven't seen them so much since that, but my mum's been telling me that it's like, it's really been choking them. It's really kind of like been making them, like, some of them have been crying when they've been reading that. And I really I'm not saying I get satisfaction from them actually crying, but I mean, it's crying in a good way. It takes them by surprise, this thing that they didn't realise. And I just want to keep doing that, just keep writing notes to people. Now, I'd love to be able to start doing them to strangers in some way. Now, I'm not really sure how that would happen, but, or when I say strangers, people that I just look up to, or admire in some way. So if I can take that from someone, or can leave that to anyone in here, just do that. Try and do that now if you can. Write a note to someone that you're grateful for. Here's something that I heard just the other week, which was, imagine, I bet you've got, say, right now, for me, I can definitely do this in terms of three of your favourite books that have really helped you, inspire you. Go onto Amazon now and leave them a review and just tell them how grateful you are, like how much that book has changed my life. Now, I've seriously got like probably at least a couple of dozen of them. I've not done it yet, but I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to leave a note on there to say, thank you so much. This book has literally changed my life. I'm so grateful for it. I've been telling other people about it. Amazing. Keep going. Keep doing it. Because often, I think a lot of people, particularly say authors or artists, they can churn away at something, put so much of their life into it. And sometimes it can be tough going through that process. And you think, is it worth it? Does anyone like it? And sometimes these comments at certain times, or you leave someone a comment on the Facebook, or you send them an email, these can be the things that can give them that boost. I know for me personally speaking, I'm so grateful for the people that have got in touch with me since I've been doing my podcast. I've had friends that I haven't been in touch with a long time that have just sent a note to me, particularly about my last one that I talked about. Everyone's got a story to tell, like saying like how much they could relate to it and how it really helped them. And you know what, like that's amazing for me. That's truly amazing. And I'm so grateful for them people that have reached out and just said them few words. So if anyone out there that you admire or anyone, you know, tell them you thank you. Them 2 words, thank you, are so powerful. And with the intention behind it, of course, is key. And here's my thing now. I'm so grateful. I say thank you to anyone who's reached out. No, I don't get loads, you know, I haven't got loads of people listening to my podcast, and it may happen, it may not. Some of them are 100, 200. I've just had one which has gone through 300 listens, and you know, that's amazing for me. You know, if I was to watch Joe Rogan podcast, he would get 300 listens in a millisecond. Within a day or so, he'll have 1.5 million listens. I can't compete with that. There's no point me trying to compete with any of that. At the end of the day, I can just do my best. And even if there's just 100 people that listen to everyone, that's phenomenal. Like sometimes I think, imagine if there's 100 people now in front of me in a room. That's quite an audience, isn't it? So yeah, I'm grateful for you guys for listening to this, for staying with me. So I appreciate that. I'm going to kind of like wrap this one up, and I just want to bring it back to the beginning. So even if you kind of don't believe this, or having a positive attitude actually makes a difference to yourself, to your physiology, to your brain, to your body, I just want to bring it back to this research, and I'll post some links to it. It literally, being grateful, literally changes the molecule structure of our brain. It keeps grey matter function, and it makes us healthier, and it makes us happier. So there you go. Science is backing this up now. It makes us feel more peaceful, less reactive, less resistant to stuff. I think we're more open as well. One thing that relates to me is like, as we've been more grateful for things, I think in our lives we can start to take more chances and to pursue them things that we're more interested in, and just thinking, well, no matter what I do I'm going to get the best out of it. Even if I fail, and I'm doing fail in inverted commas, I can be grateful for the process. I can be grateful for the things that I've got out of doing something. Let's be honest, some of the toughest things that we do in lives, or the things that we supposedly struggle at, that's where the growth comes in, and that's where there's great strength that can be made from that. And so it's being grateful for experiences, for growth. No matter how shitty something may seem at the time, or how tough it may seem, there's always an opportunity to say, you know what, I'd learned something from that. I learned something from that. It could be a terrible relationship you've been in, or you think it's terrible while you're in it, but you can think, how much have I learned from that? Rather than, this is a big thing, you know, often like we can be in bad situations and we can blame the other. I think it's really important for us to actually just start taking responsibility for our own feelings, our own lives, and anything that may happen to us. It's not necessarily other people are doing it to us, and we should be playing the blame game. Again, this comes to mindset. Can we say thank you to that person instead? Can we say, you know what, thank you for making me realise that I'm better than this. I deserve more to this in my life. There's any way of reframing it. So there we have it. I am going to leave it there today, and I'm grateful for you for listening to this. I really appreciate it. Until next time, have a good one.